Today we're going to cover how to fix your business English vocabulary forever in less than 2 months with a free ebook that I wrote. Now, I know that you can understand everything I said, but I also know that you can speak, and that's precisely why you're here. You want to fix your vocabulary because you want to fix your speaking. Sounds about right. Now, here's a little bonus. After I'm done with everything in the explanation, I'll tell you how it is possible to reach an advanced level of speaking 10 times faster. Make sure you watch the whole video until the end. Okay, this is what you're going to need. You're going to need at least 30 minutes a day and the ebook, which you can download completely for free by clicking in the link below. Keep in mind that I'm not here to teach you English. I'm here to guide you on how to become self-taught, because if I did it, you can do it too. And it's simple as just following a series of steps. I'm going to tell you those steps. Now, here's a little bit of a disclaimer. I've only tested this method with people from Japan, but I'm pretty sure, I'm very confident that it will work with anyone who wants to make the transition from intermediate to advanced. First, we need to identify the problem. In my humble experience, about 90% of people think they don't know that many words, but in reality, they already have more than enough concepts in their brain. The problem is that they cannot access them fast enough in their memory, and that is an obstacle that they face whenever they want to have a nice conversation with someone in English. Now, the real problem is not that you don't know the words. The problem is divided into two parts. First, you cannot associate multiple words with one universal concept, and two, you don't know how to memorize them. In other words, we need to fix your thinking speed and your memory. Now, let's define a couple of things first. All languages are a collection of concepts, and all concepts at the same time have a list of words associated with them. Introducing synonyms and antonyms. I promise this is going to click soon enough in your brain. Let's begin with synonyms. Synonyms are words that have similar meaning but different spelling, like house and home, or couch and sofa, or food and meal. Similar concepts but different words. Now, on the other hand, antonyms are words that represent the opposite of a concept, like big and small, or fast and slow, or tall and short. Simple, right? When it comes to learning vocabulary, typically you have two main options, and both of them are equally horrible. Number one is to read a dictionary and memorize it, which sounds superhuman, but it's what I did when I was learning vocabulary myself. This can be very quick, but it's also incredibly boring to do, so you don't want to do that, basically. The second option is to not have a plan, which is most likely what you are already doing. This means that you see a new English word, maybe you get its meaning, and then you hope to remember it the next time you need it. The solution that I'm proposing is to have a systemic approach that focuses on language acquisition. By simply investing 7 weeks of your time and then not having to worry about vocabulary ever again in your entire life. That sounds like a great deal, because it is a great deal. Okay, let's go to the book. The first pages include a short explanation of how to do this, but I just made this video to make it a little bit clearer for you. Okay, go to page number 7. The first thing you're going to see is A Day 1 in the top center. That's because this book is meant to be read just 1 page a day. That's really all you need. You don't need anything else. Just 1 page a day is going to be enough to cover at least 6,000 words in 7 weeks. Now, 6,000 words, it's more than enough for you to have all the conversations that you want or need with anybody in English. And this is not a dictionary, by the way, but it's going to turn your brain into a dictionary, because you're going to be able to associate words very quickly with general concepts. Now, 1 page a day means 14 concepts daily, 56 synonyms and 56 antonyms daily, and 126 words total daily. Okay, still on page number 7, the very first word is able. And right below, you can see a short list of synonyms and antonyms. Very simple. You're not going to see the definition because, like I said, this is not a dictionary. You're going to learn by association, where I'm going to cover that in a moment. So, the first word, able, has some synonyms linked to it, like capable, skilled, proficient, and competent. It also has some antonyms like incompetent, incapable, unskilled, and inept. Now, you know these words. You do know them, but you can't associate them quickly because you never use them in real life. And so what happens is that you end up saying the same word multiple times over and over again in the same sentence, clearly because you lack synonyms, you lack vocabulary, and you want to fix that. Then what happens is that your listener gets ultra bored super fast. By the way, look at what I did there. In this sentence, I used two words that are synonyms, ultra and super. They mean the same, but I can use them in the same sentence because their spelling is different. And even though they mean the same concept, they can be used in different contexts. I do believe in the power of education, and I know for a fact that someone out there in the world is going to see this and is going to benefit a lot from it. So, if you think this is worth sharing, just do me a favor and send this video to the person that you think is going to benefit the most from it. Thank you. Okay, so this is your task. To read the concepts with their synonyms and antonyms and memorize them via association. For example, if you don't know a concept, just check their synonyms or antonyms like this. Let's take a look at the second word, still on page 7. The second word is abundant. And I know that if you come from Asia or any country that is not from Latin America, you probably don't know the meaning of a word abundant. And maybe you even don't know what is plentiful, ample, profuse, or copious. All of those words may sound strange to you. But in Latin America, we do know what abundant is because there's a similar word in Spanish and Portuguese. But anyway, if you come from Asia, let's say, for example, you don't know any of these words except for one of their antonyms, which is limited. That's why it's in red. You do know this word. There's a very high chance that you know it or that you have seen it before. So by logic, you can associate that if limited is the antonym, then abundant must mean a lot of or many of. Now, this is way faster and easier than any dictionary because you're going to link concepts that you already know to new concepts or new words that you're going to learn. But here's the secret. If you don't use the words, you'll forget them just as quickly as you learn them. So let's talk about memorization, which is the second part of this training. Memorization is easy only when you know how to do it, but there's a very high chance that you have never been taught how to do just that. So obviously, if you don't know how to do something, you're going to think that it's super hard. And you always think to yourself like, oh, I can't remember things. Well, let's fix that today, right now. Now, this is what I use. I use the 4-sentence technique. And as far as I know, no one has ever come up with this. So I'm just going to take credit for that, whatever. The 4-sentence technique is just what it says it is. It's 4 sentences that are the pillars of communication, as I like to call them. In most verbal interactions, you will always use these 4 kinds of basic sentences. They are affirmative statements, questions, denying statements, and denying questions. And we'll go over them very quickly. Now, you can technically have a conversation that lasts for 1 million years with anybody using only these 4 basic sentences. Affirmative statements are those sentences that describe a fact or an opinion and they don't use the word not or any of its variations like isn't, doesn't, mustn't, shouldn't, hasn't, couldn't, wouldn't, etc. Questions, well, you know what questions are. I don't have to explain that. Denying statements are those sentences that make use of the word not or any of its variations like don't, doesn't, isn't, shouldn't, couldn't, whatever. And denying questions are those questions that make use of the words, negative words, basically like not, don't, doesn't, shouldn't, isn't, etc. Let's go over some examples. Let's take a look at some of the examples with the word able, the first word on the list. An affirmative statement would be, my dog is able to swim. A question, are you able to help my dog? A denying statement is, the vet is not able to come today. A denying question should be something like, isn't your dog able to dig? Let's do the same, but with the word capable, which is one of the synonyms of able. For example, my dog is capable of swimming. Are you capable of helping my dog? The vet is not capable of coming today. Isn't your dog capable of digging? Now, the core message in each and every sentence is the same, but what you're basically doing is interchanging the key word, which in this case is able for capable. Now, all you really need to do is do the same with all the other words. Let's see other examples. The word inept, like he's inept. Is he inept? He's not inept. Isn't he inept? Or unskilled. They are unskilled. Are they unskilled? They're not unskilled. Aren't they unskilled? Now, how does this work for memorization specifically? Imagine that these are reps at a gym. The more reps you do, the stronger you get. That is simple enough. See, for memorization, the key is repetition. But just repeating the same sentence over and over and over again is not going to help you in the long run. That's why you need to work with synonyms. You need to make the change and swap the main word for another one so that your brain is forced to create a neural path. Now, this is a neurological path that I create in my brain. Every time I look for a word, your brain has to walk, figuratively speaking, to that word. The more you walk the path, the easier it's going to be for your brain to remember that word quickly. And that's why we do a lot of reps. Now, do this with all the other words, and I can guarantee you in less than 2 months, your vocabulary will increase dramatically and you will make a difference, or you will see a difference in the way you express yourself. Now, let's take a look at how to actually use the document. It's a PDF, so that means that you can use it just on your phone, right? And I know for a fact that most likely you're not going to dedicate 30 minutes of your day every single day to watching this or to read this. No, that's not going to happen. What is going to happen is that you're going to see this in small, short intervals of 5 minutes, and you're going to take a look at maybe 1 or 2 general concepts, and you're going to make the sentences in your brain. Honestly speaking, it's better if you write the sentences down, but since you're going to use this while commuting or while having lunch or while having a 10-minute break, that is very unlikely, but it's still very useful if you just make simple sentences in your brain every time you open the document. That's how I designed it to work. You could, if you want, create another notebook, which is what I did. Like just take a regular notebook and write down all the sentences that you create, just like a log. That's gonna be so much more better, but it gets very boring very quickly. So just do what it makes sense for you. If it makes more sense to just think about the sentences in your brain and create the neural path in your brain, that works. If you think that writing down the sentences is going to be better, then just by all means, just do it. But the purpose of this document is for you to create the habit of using it every single day. Even if it's just one concept a day, that is still better than nothing. One concept means 8 other words, 4 synonyms and 4 antonyms at least. And that means 16 sentences that you can create. Imagine for every concept, for every general concept, you have the possibility to create 16 sentences. Now, are you going to tell me that if you create 16 sentences with every word, you're not going to memorize it quickly enough? Come on, just do it. In 7 weeks, you'll have 728 concepts, 2,912 synonyms, 2,795 antonyms, because some words don't have that many antonyms, whatever. But that's going to be 6,435 words in total and 25,740 sentences made in the span of less than 2 months. This is guaranteed to enhance your vocabulary once and for all, forever. And you are going to become a human dictionary, as my students call me. They think that I'm just like a superhuman that can remember everything. But in reality, this is what I did. This is just a very simple technique that I implemented to help me memorize things. Now the ball is in your court. Will you score or will you drop it? Will you follow through or will you just forget about this? It's up to you. I mean, like, My purpose making this kind of video is to help societies, especially Latin America and Asian societies, to increase their likelihood of having a great life. If you really want to take your career seriously and if you want to enhance your vocabulary, this is something that you can do in your spare time with very little effort. And I can guarantee you that you're going to have great results in a short amount of time, just like thousands of other of my students have done. And I just want to remind you that every month you're not fluent in English, you're losing the possibility of earning on average $4,000 to $5,000 a month in income by offering your services to US based companies. Now, at the beginning of the video, I did mention that I could tell you how you could learn English 10 times faster. So if you're tired of completely wasting time, wasting years and years of trial and error, and if you want to make the transition between intermediate to advanced so that you can offer your services to other markets and increase your income, then here's how you can do it. Let me introduce to you the English Framework for Business Professionals, which is another book that I wrote. It's a complete system that tells you how you can teach yourself. In it, you're going to find all my English knowledge and all my teaching experience condensed in a series of techniques and a system that truly allows you to become self-taught. You can save years of trial and error with a tested method based 100% in logic, and you could also save piles of money from coaches, online classes, workshops, you name it. And I can tell you all of this because I was a teacher for so long. Even before I was a copywriter, even before I offered my services to US-based companies, I was an English teacher. And interestingly enough, the second most common problem that these students had at the time was how to sound more natural, how to fix their pace. Most people don't really know the difference between speed and pace. So in this video right here, I go over everything there is to know on how to fix that. If you want to sound more natural, go ahead and click it.